Hey everybody, this is the Trout, aka Rick Troutman. Welcome to the Trout Show podcast. You know what I do? I interview musicians that are located all over this wonderful planet of ours that are very talented. Some of them you'll know, and some of them you may not know, but one thing I will tell you, you'll know about their life in the music industry. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite adult beverage, and listen to our next episode coming up right now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Trout Show podcast. Thanks for stopping by. Today I interview a rising Latin pop star that's hitting the charts internationally with her great hit, Shake This. It's number one internationally. She sat in and talked to me about her life, growing up in Kansas, getting a black belt, and how she's now topping the charts in the music industry. So sit back and enjoy this episode of the Trout Show with Sasha Prendes. When did you decide that you wanted to be a singer? Was that when you were in school? I mean, did you start singing? How'd that all kind of come about?
So my desire to be a star came when I was just like a toddler. Like I remember learning how to sing and read with like the Disney sing-along videos, with the little bounds that would go on each word.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Barney, Power Rangers. That was me. That was my life. I wanted to be the pink Power Ranger so bad.
Ooh.
And I would always sing, and I was always singing. But then when someone would come in, like my mom would come in the room or something, I would stop. And so I had this like weird shyness about my voice. And that carried on into my young adult years, like my youth years, where I just wouldn't sing for people unless they were like my absolute closest friends.
Right.
And then eventually started singing in front of my parents, but it wasn't, as a little kid, I was just so like frustrated, like, I want to do this. And I'd go to these auditions and I'd completely flop them, as a kid. And my mom would drive me into New York and, she'd be like, all right, we practice, everything would be great. And then the camera would come on and I would just freeze up.
It'd freeze.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about your family. Do you have any siblings?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I have a younger brother.
Okay. So you're the oldest?
Yes.
Okay. So you wanted to be a singer, but every time, and you know what? Here's the funny thing about it, Sasha. It's pretty simple. The people that would respect us most and give us not much complaints would be our people that we know the best, our relatives and our closest friend. But who are the ones that, and I've been a performer for years, who are the ones that you can't stand, it's just worse to perform in front of? Your relatives and your best friends.
Yeah, I was just about to say I'd have to cherry pick, you know what I mean? The people who I wouldn't want to perform in front of, just because like it's funny when you have people who are supposed to support you and will be like, oh, hey, you wrote a new song. Oh, this is great. Play it. And then I'll start singing it. And then they like start talking, like talking over me. I'm like, oh, cool.
It doesn't,
Cool.
it's funny. And then you get the parents of people, because I've interviewed a lot of young people. And I always tell the younger people, you got to stop listening to your parents. Because unless you got, and fortunately the ones I've interviewed, their parents they're not really musicians. So they kind of, they're not sucked into the fact like, oh, you're really good when you're really not.
Yeah.
That, and you got to have people around you that'll tell you the truth. Parents, they'll tell you, oh yeah, she's so good. And then you're like, you listen to it and you're like, no, you're not that good. But they don't want to tell you that. So you have to surrender it. But that was the one thing I always got asked, because I played guitar for decades now. And people are like, play something, Rick. And I don't want So you went and you'd freeze up.
Yeah.
Well, how did you, and it seems a little funny now because the way you talk and all that stuff, how did you overcome that?
So when it comes to like public speaking and being like a leader, whether it's leading, recess in second grade or, leading the prayer at family dinner, like I had no problem speaking up, saying how I felt, telling people what to do. I was very bossy. But when it came to, my music, for some reason, I was just like really, really shy about it, very insecure about it. And I used to write songs. I started writing songs at 8, and I still have like my notebook that
Oh, do
I
you?
would
That's
write.
cool. That's cool.
Pretty cool. And I just was really shy about it. I think I was just shy about my feelings and how I felt. And I had a lot of influence at a young age about like relationships and love and like the kind of music I listened to. And I feel like I was a little more advanced. I watched a lot of television and learned a lot of things kind
Hmm.
of quickly and was trying to like, figure things out in my brain. And so I put them in through song and, you know, yada, yada, yada. But when it really changed was when I moved to New York and I pretty much was like, I want to do this. Everything else that I've done, and I've tried to steer myself into some direction of sales, or you would be a great boss at this, or you would be good at that. You'd be so successful if you did this. And I tried it. I tried everything. And everything it just wasn't me. And
Yeah.
so I finally just got the courage to start singing and writing songs and teaching myself guitar. And then I started singing with like other people in New York who I cared about and people who I dated and connected with on a musical level. And then my dad's been my number one fan forever. So, I'd show him all of my new songs. And
What did they listen to when you were a kid? What music kind of style did they listen to?
oh, my parents listened to everything from like salsa, merengue, country,
Okay.
pop, rap, R&B, literally everything. Like literally everything. We didn't get into country until we moved to Kansas, which I'm so grateful for because country music, I think, in many ways has saved my life
Hmm.
and has brought me like so much joy and has allowed me to be present because they sing about the simple things in life.
Right.
And in the world that we live in right now, it's about stuff and it's about this and it's about that. And it's about, luxury and all of that is so great. But, there's nothing like hanging out by a bonfire with your friends on a
Hmm.
Friday night, like little things to be grateful for. But yeah, my parents listen to everything. So I've been massively influenced by all genres.
And you see what number one song is right now? Is that the guy that sings just got up and sang his guitar and did his little thing, and everybody and people can understand it. They don't understand why, and you just got through saying it. Why? Does he have staying power? Probably not. But his point is he got a message about just feelings, and I think the thing is, and I'm going to go back to something you just said earlier was the fact that you decided to go to New York. And a lot of people do that. Usually they go to LA for the music scene, not to New
Yeah.
York. Did you
Yeah.
have did you have thoughts of Broadway or any of that stuff or any kind of theater style? You didn't, did you? I wouldn't think you did not with the music you're doing. But all the people that I've talked to over the course of the time I've been doing this that have become successful, they always take a risk.
Yeah.
And it's outside their comfort zone. And most of the time, people around them, relatives and friends, don't understand you. What you just said. Oh, you could be. I mean, there are people born to be in leadership. And obviously, you had that ability, but it wasn't you. And so
Correct.
it's kind of like she could do, oh, she could be the CEO of this company. She could do this. And it's like, I want to go sing. Well, that doesn't make any sense. And you
Yeah.
go, it doesn't make any sense because you don't want to go sing, so you don't want to go do what I want to do. So a lot of people don't understand it. So how long, and all right, so you started writing when you're 8. I think it's cool that you still have I started writing when I was 12, but I don't have any of that stuff. Um, when you got to New York, then you started singing with friends and all that stuff, but then you had to expand out. Did you start performing with the band, or tell me how it kind of kept moving up the ladder to be able to do what you want to do?
It's funny because the ladder is not like a straight
Hmm.
linear ladder. The ladder like fell off. I fell off the roof a bunch of times and like
Hmm.
some of the steps would break and you'd have to climb a few and then you'd
Hmm.
fall and then you'd come down. So it was very much chutes and ladders. Uh, but I guess what started was I started just writing more, seeing how I can get involved, like also trying to work simultaneously. So I was like applying for jobs and getting work. And then my dad at the time was branching off and starting his own business. and I had moved in with him, and he was like, hey, I'm going to need your help because I'm taking a risk. And so
Okay.
I was like,
What did he do? What was he doing?
he was branching off and doing his own telecom company.
Oh, okay.
And so, and this was 7, 8 years ago. And I
Right.
just remember being like, okay, I got this. I'm going to do both. I'm going to work a 9 to 5 and I'm going to make music. And where things really got going was around like 2018. Just kind of started to create a team. And when you create a team in music, which is what I've always dreamed of, always been like, I need a team, I need a PR, I need a producer, I need someone who understands the business and blah, 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 blah. You know, it takes a village. And I was like, why don't I have that? Because when you're getting started, you are the village. You know, you're wearing 20 hats. You're trying
That's
to figure
right.
it
You're
out.
everything. Yep.
You're getting scammed left and right. You
Yep.
know, you're getting played. People are stealing your music, holding it hostage.
Yep.
It just became this thing of like meeting new people. But I'd written so many songs, so I'd sing them for different people, and then I'd made a couple of demos with one person, and then I connected to someone who, you know, hey, this person knows this person. Why don't you get on the phone with them, and they'll connect you with this producer. And it took me years to drop
Yeah.
my first song.
Oh,
To
yeah.
drop my first song, Rick,
Yeah.
was my song Brooklyn. And I dropped that, excuse me, I dropped that in 2018, 2019, actually,
Okay. Okay.
which is not that long ago.
No, it's
And
not.
it was just crazy, like the whole journey. And, you know, being a woman too was a bit difficult as well. I mean, I'm showing up to studios in the middle of like bumblefuck nowhere, you know, at 11 o'clock at night. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah.
You know, to try and network and make connections and show people my songs and what I could do. And I'm just grateful that I'm here now, you know, but it was a lot of learning, and I wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for all of those difficulties. You know, it made New York definitely toughened me up.
Oh, yeah. It's
Kansas was
not.
great,
Yeah.
but woo,
It's not.
I'm gonna
That's
have to
not the
kick a
same.
little bit out
I live in
here.
the Dallas area, and occasionally we go back. And I always remember when I lived in Kansas City, I thought the traffic was bad, and I go, no, it wasn't. It was. You
No,
know, it's kind of like, no, it's not. You know. But you know what you said a while ago is interesting. You had to take a chance, even with. I mean, when you said sorry, Dad, I can appreciate that because you know you're easy on the eye, young lady. So, you know, people are going to take advantage of you. And so you got to be able to say, okay, I got to do this, but then you got to take like back off, buddy. You know, I don't, you know, this is about my career and all that stuff. So that's a lot of toughness and along the way, and that toughens you up because as you know, the industry is not fun. It's fun when you get to a certain level,
yeah,
but it's work, you know, and then if you make it and your song is climbing up, doing very well. Then the next thing you know, you're on the road, you know, and then you're traveling. And I talk to people all the time that travel all the time, and it's like then you have no life. I see with you already from what I've seen, like I said, on your Instagram postings and things like that. Part of it is, and I've said this to people, if you're not having fun, there's no point in doing it.
100%.
I mean, you can
And
sit in the studio and write great songs and be miserable. You know, getting the royalty checks or whatever, the touring checks, there's no such thing as royalties anymore, hardly. But, you know, if you're not happy doing it, there's no point in doing it.
fully agree. And to kind of circle back as far as like being tough, I do have to thank my parents for putting me in Taekwondo because I'm a black belt. And so I have like there's not much I can do against a weapon. Obviously,
No, no.
I'm a 5'4" peanut, you know, but I can hold my own, and I have had to defend myself in different circumstances. And I will say that like being in Taekwondo has given me that like warrior spirit, that fighter energy that makes me go like, you know, okay, here's the exit. I know how to get out. All
Right.
right, I'm not sure who this person is, but it was recommended by this person, and I like low key trust this person / like don't really know, but what other options do I have?
Right.
So it was a lot of there's a lot of, you know, weighing things out. in your brain. But as a fighter, I think that was something that really helped propel me forward in the industry, because I feel like music and fighting are very similar in the sense of like you can't stop, you have to keep going. And at the end of the day, it's not the person who has the craziest moves or, the longest training or the best, grandmaster. It's actually the person who can stand longest in the ring. It's a cardio game. Right. It's like, how long can you actually last? And I feel like that is why I'm here now, and why a lot of great things are happening, is because I'm kind of like that beat up fighter at the end who's still here, still getting back in.
I'm getting up. We're not at the 10 count yet. So your biggest fan, obviously, is your biggest fan is probably your father, what you said.
Yeah.
When was the turning point that you realized that things were going the right direction for you? I mean, you've been doing this for a while already, and that was the other thing I saw about your website is you have a team. Now, a lot of people have a team, but they don't put it out there for people to see.
Correct.
You might that whoever's famous has got a team, and you're like, well, who's their manager and who's this and all that? And you're like, I don't know who they are, but you put it right out. Here's the people I'm involved with. And that's the hardest thing as an independent artist, to find a team, because people love you and they might want to be on your team, but they got to eat too. So when was the break that somebody said, oh, I really want to start doing this. I want to help this young lady become better and become what she wants to be. Who was that person, and when did that happen? Are you confused about what's going on in the financial situation in America right now? What you need is an expert, someone that can help you reach your financial possibilities. And that's David Smith with Everett Jones at 469-372-1587. David has years of experience of helping people just like you, because his number one concern is you. That's David Smith with Everett Jones, 469-372-1587. Reach out to him today. And it may have been more than one person, but seriously.
It is. There are more than one people. I'd say the first person, one of my favorite people ever, Hanan Rubenstein. He is an incredible producer, musician, writer. He's been in the game forever. And he's kind of become like a mentor for me over the years. And I met him through happenstance. We found him through someone else to do a guitar solo for one of my songs that came out years ago. And he helped mix my first independent EP. Then we did an EP together later on. And then one day he just sends a message. And this is after knowing him for 5 years, 6 years. He sends me a message and connects me with Darrell Lawrence, who is someone that he trained under. And D is a writer, producer, and my life changed from that day moving forward. He was like, hey, you guys should work together. And D was like, yep, Sasha's got the sauce. And I think that's when, all of my hard work and all of my chutes and ladders and baggage and scars and whatnot really, really came into play, because I have so much music. I have so much experience now. I am essentially fearless, and I'm constantly even if I am scared, even if I'm scared shitless, I'm still getting out there. I'm like, give me the mic, let's go.
You know what? I've always believed this, Sasha. If you're not, when you go out on stage, it becomes just normal. Yeah. I mean, you get comfortable with it, but if you don't get hey, we're playing a gig or I'm doing a big event, if you're not getting a little butterfly action, you're probably not doing it enough, or you're just got kind of pedestrian walking through it. So, that's the other thing about it. It didn't matter the size gig that I played in, I still would go okay, I got to get up here and do my thing,
Yeah.
And people the one thing I always tell people about going and performing is people want to like you. They don't come to not like you. They come to like you. And it's your job to make sure they like you through the whole thing while you're standing up there doing your stuff. I think what you said is true to a certain extent, but you have to take a chance and just ask people. I mean, you mentioned the one producer who knew the other guy, but sometimes you wonder, is that a coincidence or was it supposed to happen that way?
It was supposed to happen. It
There
was
you go.
supposed to happen. And so much happened to me that week. It was like my birthday week, and Dee had come into my life, and Hanan had introduced us. I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, and in the same week I signed a record deal, started recording an album, moved out of my ex's house, then moved into my dream apartment. I mean, when I tell you, like, my entire world in like 6 weeks, it was crazy. And that's why I'm really excited, because it's almost fall, and fall is like this lovely energy that God, universe, brings to us, and we let go of the old, and we had a great summer, or maybe we didn't have a great summer, and then we can kind of like reassess ourselves and have different experience, different goals. And I also too believe in, like, destiny, and I think that it was destiny for D. Lawrence and I to meet up, and we work so well together, and we've created such cool music. And we didn't even think that the song was going to be the one that we were going to drop first.
It never
Like,
happens that way. It always
we
it
were
seems to
like,
be that.
oh, it's going to be this one or that one. And be like, oh, I love this one. Let's do it. And he's like imagining the video, and we're talking about it. And then one day he just wakes up and is like, hey, let's get to the studio right now. It's like 9 a.m. He's like, get over here right now. I'm like, okay. And then he plays me 3 words, shake this up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, all right, this is the chorus. Cool. And there we are in there, going back and forth, making it happen. And then we made this song, and it was just like, it's just like, wow, when you let things flow, and I hate the term pay your dues. Like, I really hate that term, or do your time. Yeah. I hate that. But there is something to be said, maybe a cooler, more positive, more like non-cliche way of saying it is like figure it the fuck out. Like,
well, that's kind of, yeah. But you still have to. I interviewed a guy last year. I was getting ready to. He'd won Mississippi. Of course, he's a Southern guy, so he writes country. He won Mississippi Songwriter of the Year.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
we talked, and then I'd never interviewed him yet. But I mean, he was writing on his Facebook page. He actually was a tow truck driver or something like that, and he wrote this, because just like you had a regular day job and had to go out and do his thing. So then he says, I got to do this and I got to do that. And I said, dude, you don't write a song and become famous. You have to what? Pay your dues. I mean, you have to go out and do that, or whatever, how you said it, but you still have to do it.
You got to figure it out, and it's one of those things where I think maybe a sweeter way of saying it is like, you need to get experience. You need to gain experience.
Yeah.
And you need to be duped a bunch of times, and you need to get your heart broken, and you need to put yourself out on a limb, and you need to
that's true.
Go to that weird, shady studio in the middle of the night, and sometimes bring a friend. Like, if I had a friend who could come with me, I would bring a friend, or bring my dad, or, like, I always, like, if I wanted to really work with someone, I would be like, hey, why don't you be my family? Why don't we have a little barbecue? Like, why don't we see, like, what you're really about, So I was very, like, community, right? I think that's the Latina in me. I think that's, it's my way of kind of incorporating everything, so that I'm not only looking at life with rose-colored glasses. I like to bring other people in, because I do romanticize things, and I, pray and wish and want things so badly that maybe, at times I'll kind of try and like fit it into the piece, and it doesn't fit. And you need your friends and your family to be like, hey, Sash, he's cool, but I just don't think he's the one,
He's cool,
so,
but
yeah, it's cool, but I know this about myself. I've had experience. I've paid my dues. I know this about myself. So I always like to bring in, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth opinions.
And it's hard to find people that I think that'll tell you the truth. You can find people to say yes all day long. They just want to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Look where she's at. She's doing this. What? She's on the red carpet. Yeah. Hey, you want to go with it? Oh, yeah, sure. How's that song? What do you think of it? Oh, it's great. And you're like, okay, I don't need you around. I don't need sycophants around me. I want people to tell me the truth. Like, So let me go back to Shake This. So you did that song. Were you in the process of already recording an album, or you'd already put a bunch of stuff and recorded it? Is that what you'd done and thinking about releasing something?
So, so we have recorded many songs, and D just wakes up and writes a new one. Like he'll just call me and he'll be like, "Hey, I wrote a new song. Let's figure out studio for the week." I'm like, "Okay, great," and he'll send
Yeah.
me an idea, and then I like to like not prepare too much for it, because I like that first initial idea to just come out right when I
Yeah.
get into the studio. I don't
Yep.
like to premeditate on it too much.
Yep.
And so we have some bangers. We have some super songs. Excuse me. We have some super songs, and we're going to be dropping them later on. But Shake This has been doing so well, and we've just been riding this beautiful wave with it, and we're loving that everybody is liking it so much. It's like it's been so well received, and I think we're just gonna, keep letting it play out, keep being surprised by the success of this song. And then we got the next one lined up, though. I will tell you that we got the next one ready.
Why do you think the song has been successful?
I believe the song has been successful because it has a good message. And last night, actually, I sang it a cappella for some friends at a little dinner party last night. And one of my favorite lines in the song is, "Time to throw away the compromising, look in the mirror and stop the lies, and it's the reflection you've been despising." And that's one of my favorite lines because it's like, at the end of the day, like you're in control of your life and it's up to
Yep.
you. And if you're not happy with something, like you have to like stop lying to yourself. You have to get out of the delusion and like do some self-reflection. And how we feel and what we project on others is representation of how we feel about ourselves, and vice versa. So I think the message is awesome because it's like, shake this, I gotta shake this, I gotta let that go of things that are holding me down. And then it's like fun and funky and kind of groovy, and you're kind of like, yeah, you know what, I do need to shake this. And I think that's why it's been so good. It's kind of got that like double meaning.
Well, you have a unique video. How long did it take you to shoot that video?
Days.
Yeah, I would assume.
Days on days, but it was fun. It was very fun. Long days, like,
And you get to a point, I'm sure it's like, oh my God, I'm singing this song again for the 900th time. I love this song, but come on. It's like, it's like, but people are going to want to go for the ride with you. But when I see someone like you that has, as I said at the very beginning, have exuberance and the talent that people just want to go see you, and this is the one thing. I was having this conversation with some friends the other day. What is there about Taylor Swift that people just flock by the thousands to go see her? I don't know. I mean, I don't understand it, but it's a movement,
yeah.
And she went to a wedding this weekend and people were waiting outside, hundreds of people waiting out just to see her. And it's like, okay, why? But if you want, and some of that to me is when you get to that level of performer, you have no life.
Yeah.
You don't have any life. You need, in your situation, you're on your way up and you'll do well. People will see you. They'll want to come back and see more of you, but you can still have a life, and I've always wondered about like that. It's like Paul McCartney. Where does he go that nobody doesn't know who Paul McCartney is? Nobody, no place. I mean, Ringo Starr's supposed to be here in about 3 months. Where can he go when people don't know who he is?
It's such a very interesting thing to bring up, especially at the level where I am right now, where that's not happening to that degree, right? Although it was cool the other day, I like signed a couple autographs at a
I was
bar.
going to ask you if you started signing autographs, yeah.
And like sometimes taxi drivers will take pictures of me and stuff like that. So like later on in life, there'll be like hundreds of pictures of random taxi drivers with me, which is pretty funny. But I think for me, the hardest thing the first thing that I've noticed is I got the friends thing down. Like I can tell who's my friend, who's not my friend.
Oh
Like
yeah. Oh yeah.
that's been part of the ladder too. You know, that's been part of the journey.
Yep.
Dating. I think now I'm finding it even more difficult to kind of spend time with someone and understand what their intentions are, because a piece of me is like, okay, yeah, like I'm funny, I'm silly, I'm goofy, I'm cute, like sure you want to hang out with me, but then there's this other part of me that's like, I'm a rising pop star, my life is so cool and I do all this cool pop star shit,
Yeah.
and it's really coming together, and it's like, oh, but I want you to like me for me, but then this is also me, and
Yeah.
I've worked so hard my whole life to just get to here. And then it's like, what do I have to kind of like pull myself back and be like, no, I'm just Sasha from Kansas, which is true, which is
Yes.
true. And
Yeah.
also like, yeah, like baby Sasha is doing exactly what she said she wanted to do, you
Right.
know, as an adult. So it's this kind of this weird thing where there's like I don't know, it's the line between like being used and being actually like liked are kind of blurred. And
Hmm.
I wrote a song the other day about it. It was like, damn, it was like I worked my whole life for this, to be like, yeah, I'm a pop star, to like be able to attract like, you know, upper echelon men and like attract people who are on my same like wavelength and frequency and
Yeah.
dedication,
Yeah.
motivation, and all that beautiful stuff that, you know, we've worked so hard for. And then it's like, ah, damn, like, you know, wolf in sheep's clothing type thing. So I've found that to be a little isolating. Um, but at the same time, and I stare into the abyss as I share this with you, just because like this has actually been something that's been like deeply on my mind. And I feel like you have to make a choice, and I choose me, and I choose my music, and I choose the fun, awesome, cool things I'm going to do moving forward with myself and my life and my friends and my family and the people that, you know, love me and deserve to come along for that ride. Um, does that mean sometimes you get lonely? Does that mean sometimes it's hard to find, you know, a partner that like, you know, like you said, how is Taylor Swift going to just date?
Yeah.
You know, how is Paul
How many
McCartney?
men has she dated? I mean, it's been somebody named him off the other day on the radio, and I'm like, oh my God, I had no idea.
Well,
You
my list
know.
is a little bit longer than hers, so hers ain't that long, I'll tell you that.
Well, but you know,
But
you're right at that point now where you're in that situation where you're already. I look at it like this. So I follow obviously some famous people on Instagram, and when they show pictures of their friends, I always think about their friends, what it's like. Because your true friends will have to get over the fact that you're going into a restaurant and you're having friends with your best girlfriend, so to speak, and you're sitting there and she says, "Hey, here they come. Hi, can I have your autograph?" And it doesn't bother her or
yeah,
him.
or
And
him.
that's not easy to find people like that because you're the person that they want to see. They're just your friend, but they're also your friend that's going to tell you, "Hey, you got a little stuff in your teeth right there." You know what I'm saying?
Right? Maybe not. That's part of the discovery, right? You really get to know
Yeah.
someone. You know, I lost a best friend of 20 years
Mm,
over things like that. You know,
mhm.
my career started to rise. I was in a relationship, things were going really well, and then all of a sudden she just didn't want to be my friend anymore. And I just remember being so heartbroken about it. But I think it was just my lifestyle. I think she just couldn't handle it. I think
I
it was
think
just
that's
too much.
why I think that's why people put such a shell on them when they become more famous, so to speak, or become more of a celebrity. That they have a shell because they've been burnt so many times,
Yeah.
and they don't let everybody in, and I understand that. So you have to have a trustworthy group. Yeah, you got your professional group that you have with you all the time, or people that you work with may not be your friends. I mean, you go in the studio, you may know the engineer is, "Hey Max, hey Josh, it's me," but you're not going to go out to dinner with him. You're just going to, you know him as that person. So when you get to work, and I think it's already interesting that you're getting there already. And
It's so, honestly, it's so weird. I was like, so funny thing, this is like a few years ago. I was dating a guy who I like really liked, and it was like magical and romantic and fun, and this song where I wrote a beautiful album about it. So hope to record that in the next few years. And he at one point said to me and said, I feel like I'm taking a back seat to your rock star life.
mm,
And I just remember looking at him and I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, you haven't even seen me sing on stage yet. We've been dating not even 3 months. Hasn't even hit 90 days. I was like,
wow,
what are you talking about?
wow,
And I think that that was one of my favorite flashbacks, because I realized like I'm a lot just in myself, like I'm that's kind of like the phrase that everyone's using, right? Like, oh my God, like that's a lot. Like she's a lot. Yes, I'm a lot. And I have a big personality and I'm passionate about a bunch of things and I have high energy. And if I'm upset, I'm upset. And if I'm crying about something, I'm crying, like
right.
I don't hide that. But then you mix like someone with such a big personality and like type A and like more of an alpha, and then you sprinkle some fame and you sprinkle popularity and music and all these other things. Like I think homie bowed out at the right time, when he learned about himself. Okay, yeah, this is not the kind of person that, it's not even an offense to me. It's just it wasn't the right fit, but still hurt, still broke my heart. So made me feel like, oh wow, is this something that's gonna follow me throughout life, right? Like,
I think that's a decision you have to make. And I think that being who you are and remaining who you are is tough in the industry that you're in. It really is, because you're a human being, you have vulnerabilities, you have feelings, and but you want to. I interviewed a guy about 3 or 4 weeks ago that traveled. He was with one of the biggest rock stars and played drums with him for over 600 shows. And he gave it up. He gave it up to become a therapist because he had demons in his life. He was, a drug addict at one time and alcoholic. And I told him, I said, the fact that you gave that up tells you a lot about who you are.
yeah.
And the fact that you could have said, I mean, he was playing in Royal Albert Hall, sells out. I mean, come on. You're sitting there and you're on a video that millions of people sit, and you're going, that's me playing drums. And then you just said, I don't want this anymore. That guy is, and he's a really nice guy. He's in touch with who he is. And I think what's funny, what you said a while ago, so I was mentioning the group last year, they were not famous yet.
Yeah.
And they were getting there, and I said, have they started asking you for autographs? And they said, it's so funny you said the same thing. It's so weird. I mean, they said, it was kind of funny because she said, I'm in a restaurant and the girls, we didn't know it. They were all fighting. They were actually trying to decide who was going to go wait on us because we were already becoming famous. I'm waiting on him. No, you're waiting on him. That's what you can expect. That's what you're going to see. And it's it's got to be fun.
It is fun. I think being like, growing up, being a little peanut and, seeing celebrities or, seeing them at restaurants or whatever. And obviously I don't know them. No one knows them intimately or personally or
Mm-mm.
anything, but you do feel a connection to what they represent, or you enjoy, the shows and the entertainment that they provide.
Right.
And sometimes it affects you, deeper than others. Like, oh my gosh, Miley Cyrus, I don't know what I'm gonna do when I meet her. Like, I'm just like, oh my God, like I grew up with you, girl.
You're
Like
still a
like,
fan. You're still a
oh my
fan.
God, yeah. Like it just never goes away, But I think that that's like, I think it's fun because it's almost like getting acknowledged for all of your hard work,
Absolutely.
because when you
Yeah.
drop a song and you're not anybody and you have like, okay, cool, like 3 people listen to my song. And then you have strangers at a restaurant who are arguing over like who's gonna wait on your table first, like that shows me like, oh snap, like other people are actually listening and they're
Yep.
resonating with my message in the same
Yep.
way that like the message resonated with me. And
Yeah.
I put all this time, effort, blood, sweat, and tears into making this song. And now like you get me and we vibe on that. And it's just like a beautiful thing. So I love it. I can't wait to do more meet and greets and sign autographs and take pictures with people because I think that that's like how you build relationships for life, you know?
It's funny because the people I have interviewed, they tour a lot, and some of them go down and meet the fans afterwards, you know, because that does cement relationship. You become real. When you go out and see them and you go visit with them and you shake their hand, just like you said, it makes people want to meet you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that does true. I truly believe you got the point. It is about your music, not about you.
Yeah.
So tell me what your goal is now. You maybe got another tune. So tell me what your plans are. You seem like you're probably a planner, obviously. You got this song. You got to get out and you got to do more than just. I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's your job. But people are going to want to see you. They want to see
Yeah.
you perform.
Yeah.
So
I'm performing
what are you going to
tonight.
do?
Actually. I'm performing this evening at an amazing place called Somewhere Nowhere in the city. And it's for this incredible charity, this gala. And I performed last Thursday in Miami with them. And then they invited me to perform in New York for their next event.
What's the charity?
It's called Le Couleur. And
Okay.
they have a create program which teaches like art and music and all these different other like creative skills in Haiti, Nepal, and Mexico,
Oh,
specifically at
that's
orphanages.
interesting. Haiti, Nepal,
Right?
Mexico.
Yeah, it's specifically for orphan children in those three
Okay.
places, depending on like the need. And they bring in like local teachers and local people to build trust and to kind of start creating an environment for those kids and for everyone. So it's really cool. So I'm like honored. I love performing at galas and charity events. I feel like it's my way of contributing if I can't
Mhm.
give millions of dollars, you know. It's like encourage everyone to come together because a little bit goes a long way.
That's great, but I know you have to have plans to go, okay, I've got to go out and go. I've got to go to New York. I got to go to Miami. I got to go to Chicago. I got to go to Dallas. I got to go to LA.
Yeah,
You have, because as this song takes off, which it is, then that's when your group gets bigger. I
yeah.
got to have a band. I got to have people that are going to pay for my band. So is that all on, I'm sure it's all in your mind now.
It is. It's all on my vision board. You know, it's all one step at a time. And there are moments where I feel like, oh my God, I just want to press fast forward and be like, why isn't this happening fast enough? And blah, blah, you know what I mean? Or like,
Yeah.
am I staying stagnant? Is there anything I can do to change this? And I think patience is a virtue. Um, and just like letting my team, putting trust into my team and letting them do what they know how to do best.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Fashion Week is piling up like September. We have a bunch of shows all in Fashion Week. We've been invited to Paris. So just kind of like slowly getting into the groove of touring. I consider tour has already started, right? Because last week I
Yeah.
had multiple shows, this week multiple shows. Okay, if we're doing a show to 2 shows, 3 shows a week, then we're traveling now. Like I just went on my first like traveling trip with the team. That was really cool. So there's a lot of first going on right now. And I think ultimately the goal would be to open for somebody awesome and
Who would you like to
go on
open
tour
for?
with them.
Who would be if you could open for anybody, who would you open for?
Oh man, the icons, of course, Miley Cyrus, Taylor Swift. I mean, we're all kind of in that same like popish genre. I would love to go on tour with Becky G. Becky
Ah,
G is so incredible, and she's Latina también, and so I think we'd be able to, blend our Spanish and English vibes. She's Mexican, I'm Cuban. I just feel like it'd be a good match. I also love Sabrina Carpenter.
mm.
I think we have a similar vibe. Yeah, and then there's a lot of other artists who are like on different tiers who I would also tour with. But as far as the big ones, like those are the girls that I
We
want.
didn't even talk about this, is the fact that you have fans now because you from your culture or your background, Hispanic background, that's a whole different ball game right there. And so
I know.
you can attract us Anglos, and they're going to like you. And I think that's what's interesting to watch you. And I saw it. I know it may have been older, but you put something up. Where's your song now? You had like there's so many different charts now. You had an international chart, and you got. So tell me a little about your charts. Where are you now? And some of them are in Europe, whatever.
Yeah, so in Europe, I hit #1 on the European indie music charts. The world indie music charts, I hit #1. The media rhythm charts, I'm in like the top 200. I'm on the same chart as Taylor Swift. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I mean, all these charts get their data from different places and whatnot.
Sure.
But what's
Yeah.
cool, I think the coolest part about it is yeah, being #1 on this or that is like super cool. But I think I'm just mostly happy that people are listening to the song and they're liking it, they're sending it and they're sharing it and they're dancing to it and they want to hear it or they recognize it. That's most important to me. I think obviously numbers are important,
Oh, sure.
but I just I don't know. It's just, I haven't fully seen that yet. I see the numbers, I see the data, the team, lets me know certain things, but it'll be really nice. It'll be so dope to see people in the audience like singing all the words to my songs. That's my favorite. Cause then I'm like, you guys get me. I get you. You get me. Let's be friends.
It's like, okay, I understand what you're saying. You're on all these charts, but it doesn't translate to being on the radio, so to speak.
Yeah, it hasn't like clicked yet, but
Or getting in a rotation someplace where people can listen to your music,
even when you're walking through Bloomingdale's or CVS or something, and you're hearing like all the charts. Like I want to walk
Is that
through
my tune they're
Walgreens.
playing? Yeah.
I
Yeah, go
want to
ahead.
walk through Walgreens and hear shake this. I just be like, goals. I've achieved my goals.
Well, I just think you're going to do very well. I knew that your personality would be the way you were. And that, that's going to carry a long way, but you're very talented. I just look forward to seeing you.
Thank you.
I love seeing people on the rise. I've seen people that I started a year ago, and it doesn't matter what genre it is. If I interviewed them or talk with them, and then I see them coming further and further up the ladder, I love that. And, and I think we'll continue to see you grow, and that's going to be fun for me to watch. And so you got it. You got to Shake This is doing well, and I want to wrap this up. But what's you got it? When's your next drop? You think you're going to drop another tune?
The reason why they don't tell me these things is because I get so excited and I would blurt out. I'd be like, on this day at this time.
So you don't know yet.
So I don't know. I know what the song's going to be, but I don't know when. I'm like 80% sure.
Okay.
I know what the next song is going to be. But Dee just texted me yesterday and was like, hey, we're going back to the studio. Like this new song's amazing. And I'm like, oh my God, it might be that song. Because that's how Shake This happened. That's how a lot of these happened. Just, wakes up in the middle of the night and is like writing these.
And what's weird about this, and you're going to find this out if you don't already know it. You put an album out and you have your idea. Okay, this is what people, and you said this earlier. Oh, we knew we're going to do that. And then you give it to people to listen to, and it's never the one you think that's going to be the big one.
Always. Never.
It's never, and you're like, okay, I really like this song. This is one everybody's going to like. And you'll ask them and you'll go to your friends, which one do you like? That one. And you're like, what? so
I've had so much fun with you today too. This has been an awesome conversation. I love it.
It's my pleasure.
It's gonna be
well,
cool.
You have a great show tonight, and we'll keep in touch. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Rick. This was awesome. Have a great day, babes.
All right, see ya.
Bye.
Bye.